I've tried to make some videos in memory of Sarah Milgram and Yoram Lashinsky, who were murdered in the streets of Washington coming out of the Jewish Museum. They would have studied Torah had they tried to become married in Israel. They would have gone through the process of Giyur of Kahalocha in Yoram's part had they tried to become get married with the Rabbanut. So this is basic Judaism 101. One of the most fascinating things about the Torah is that despite the fact that there's no formal mathematics in the Torah, although there are some hints that the prophets knew many of the precise measurements of the Greeks, and that this wasn't known to the ordinary person, but the prophets were able to decipher this. The Vilna Gaon shows this with extreme precision regarding pi. That although for the layman like myself, who didn't know higher mathematics, 3 was the approximate the figure for circumference relative to diameter. But the Vilna Gaon proves from the words of the prophet that they really knew that it was closer to 3.1416, as is well known in those who study basic geometry. At any rate, there is a fascinating piece of astronomy and astronomical measurement that is most incredible, and that is the precision by which we are able to predict the beginning of the new moon. According to Jewish sources, starting in the Talmud and even before then, the moon is said to become renewed, in other words, come through the cycle, and be visible every 29 days, 12 hours, and 793 parts to an hour. 793 parts are based upon 18 parts, 18 chalokim to the minute, which reflects the breath of the person. Approximately, the approximate amount of breaths per minute is about 18, sometimes 17, but approximately that's what they had in those times. 18 corresponding 18 breaths. The number comes out to 1080, which is divisible by 2, 3, by 6. I mean by 10, by other numbers. It's a very, very useful number that you can divide it. So therefore, the hour is divided into 1080 parts. And so 793 parts of the hour plus 12 hours and 29 days. That is the point from new moon to new moon. This is very precise. It is the most precise observation of the new moon, the time from new moon to new moon. There has never been a more precise calculation until they got the Hubble telescope. That's how incredibly accurate it is. It is more accurate than the Babylonians, than the Egyptians, than the Assyrians, than the Greeks, Romans, all of the ancients who valued and actually worshipped the movements of the moon. They got it pretty accurate, but it was the Jews who had 29 days, 12 hours, 793 parts, and because the part of the minute is about 3 seconds, a little bit over 3 seconds, 3.3 seconds. That's why you could get a more exact reading if you're in above the sky. But because of the atmosphere, you really can't get a better viewing. All the ancients got it wrong. Jews got it right. How did they get it? And this is a tradition that the rabbis had, and the source is found in the Talmud and is recorded by Rambam, by Maimonides. And this is what we use. Now, interestingly, how do we determine this number? This is determined by the precise moment that in the theoretical universe, the moon would be sighted a year before it was sighted by when Adam was created. The moon, Adam was born on Rosh Hashanah. The moon was renewed exactly 8 a.m. Jerusalem time on that Friday, when right before Adam was created. That moment of 8 a.m., if you go back a year, it will come out to a Monday night. This is Friday morning. It will have the year before, the time would have been theoretically at the second night of the week, the Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday evening, the second night, fifth hour, 5 hours, and 204 halokim, or they call it BaHaRaD, the second night. Hey is the fifth hour of the night, and Reish Daled is 204 parts to the hour. And when you project this from that year till the sighting of the moon on Rosh Hashanah, when Adam was created, it tells you that the difference in a year will be in the week will be 4 days, 8 hours, and 876 parts. When you add 876 parts with the 204 when it was sighted, it will get you an hour, and since there were 5 hours, and you add 5 hours, and you add 8 hours, that will get you to 13, which will be 7. Then the additional hour is 8. So 8 o'clock in the morning of the first actual year where Adam was created, but the second year, because there were 6 days before in creation, so this comes from the year before. So if you project backwards, you have this time that in the theoretical year prior to creation, it's Monday night, the fifth hour, 204 parts. And from there you project going forward that it's going to be sighted on Friday morning, 8 a.m., right around the time that Adam is created. Now, this is very, very important, very significant. They were able to calculate this time from their knowledge of 29 days, 12 hours, and 793 parts. They were able to calculate it backwards to the point where theoretically it would have been visible the year before. What isn't known and is amazing is that this is reported by, I believe, the Sefer HaMikneh, that that this point of the theoretical sighting of the moon the year before creation is actually found in the Torah in the first few verses. So I will try to enlighten you by the following. You have to understand that the Torah is a bunch of letters. Those letters are written in words, and the words become sentences, the sentences become paragraphs, and they become stories, and so on and so forth. The Torah has, in the collection of letters, a system of prediction of all the events that will take place in this world. No matter what the event, if it's an important event, it will be more visible. If it's a lesser event, it'll be harder to discover. But every event that takes place in the world, during the entire history of the world, is recorded in the letters and the words of the Torah under certain patterns. Those patterns are only known to God, but we've discovered some of them. One of the patterns that this Sefer, this Kabbalistic Sefer, discovers is that there are equal letters, intervals, where things are hidden, that hint to something important. From the first letter of the Hebrew of the Torah, which is the bet of Bereshis, Genesis, begins with the word Bereshit. Bereshit means the origin, at the origin. The bet of Bereshis, if you take 42 letters, you will get a Hey. From that Hey, another 42 letters, you'll get a Resh. 42 letters later, you'll get a Dalet, or BaHaRaD, Bet, second night, Hey, the fifth hour, and Resh, Dalet, 204 parts of the hour. Why is this so important? Because this is the central timepiece of the Torah. The Torah is based upon a lunar cycle. The Torah year is a lunar year. The festivals are based on the sightings of the moon, the lunar festivals. Pesach comes out in the middle of the month, the 15th night of Nisan, the middle of the month, and full moon. And the Sukkot, which is the called Chag or Hajj, that's where the Arabs get the word Hajj from, because it's Chag, Hajj, HaSukkot. The holiday, the festival, is also the 15th night of Tishrei, the 7th month. So it's full moon. So that's the times of the festivals are associated with phases of the moon. Rosh Hashanah comes out on the first day of the year, first day of the month, and it's not coming at a particular day in the solar calendar, but at a specific time when the moon is renewed. So Bet Hey Resh Daled, which is the beginning from which time is calculated, time calculated by the sightings of the moon, is hinted at in 42 letter increments, starting from the letter base at the beginning of the Torah, because central to time keeping for human beings on this earth is the phases of the moon, and therefore it is going to be hinted at the beginning of the Torah. Why is this important? It's important because every element of Jewish law and Jewish faith and Jewish experience, every element of Jewish faith and law are found within the words of the Torah. It's hard to see it, but when you go ahead and you study the words and the letters, and you see how they're interrelated, every aspect of the Torah is exact, at an exact point, exactly so many letters, so many words, so many descriptive adjectives, so many nouns, so many subjects. There's a system. There's a layer of 7 within the words of the Torah. Then each letter is exactly placed at certain points. And it reads like a story. It reads like a book of laws. It reads like a narrative, somebody writing. And yet it's precise, like the most complex computer system. Why am I telling you this? I'm sharing with you that the Torah is not a set of books written by some scribes who didn't know what they were doing, who barely write coherently. Everything in the Torah is precise. Every letter, every dot that's found in the Torah is precise. All you need to do is study it. You have a question? There's an answer. I may not be able to answer your questions. You are probably smarter than I am, and therefore can ask questions that I can't answer. But that just because I can't answer doesn't mean that there isn't an answer. And so we're going to continue these talks for the sake of Sarah Milgram and Yoram Lashinsky, showing the beauty, the precision of the Torah. First thing you need to know is that time is so important. And we start the time, we relate to time based upon the moon. The sighting of the moon, the theoretical sighting of the moon in year 1 prior to the creation, is hinted at in the beginning of the Torah by equidistant 42-letter increments. And 42 letters are very significant. And we'll talk about the 42-letter names of God in a subsequent lesson.